What up guys, Paradox back with more tech support. So in my last videos I've showed you guys how to get the left and right brackets and front engine accessories as power steering pump, alternator, water pump, harmonic balancer, and tensioner with thermostat housing from a Ford Freestar or Ford Windstar minivan to be able to swap onto your vehicle in the walkthrough to do that for fitment of turbo. I like this because you're really able to fit a lot of turbo stuff in here and you're still not even at max volume. I've looked at size application and it's almost actually the same size as the original Mustang front engine accessories. So after showing you guys how to put all this together, of course in the last video I've showed you how to buy an eBay turbo kit and slap that on. It's literally a left and right manifold and putting the manifolds on. If it wasn't for my turbo choice it would have been bolt on, but because of the internal wastegate turbos that I had, the only interference I was actually going to come up with at all was this wastegate going right into the alternator. So instead I just made a little arm to zig it out of there and reattach it. So that really was a 1 hour fix and that was back on the roll. For the turbo kit, you guys seen it spool in one of the last videos. I had it with the Mustang intake that didn't fit under a hood I had, and for a while I was kind of struggling with what intake I was going to run to kind of make a solid aluminum boost engine and still not have to worry about it at all. The Mustang really didn't offer too many intake manifolds to really fit my application, so I ended up kind of looking outside the box with all the fabrication I've done, and I ended up actually making an adapter plate from the Ford Freestar lower intake to a Nissan R35 GTR upper intake, and fits almost flawlessly. So the plan with the GTR, the pushrod GTR motor, is we're actually going to have these turbos, which of course have cold air intakes that fit in the car as it sits. We're going to have water intercooler right here that goes out about 12 inches and turns around and comes back up and then goes into the GTR upper intake, where I will have one slot MAF from a Ford Freestar, the newer upgraded type MAFs, to read the intake, as well as we have the Ford OEM TPS throttle cable setup on each side. So these are Ford Freestar throttles, and I have them set up in tandem to be able to pull. All this is OEM, so I'm able to pull one set of cables right here where I have in my car a cable splitter that pulls both of these, and that's adjustable, as well as this is adjustable to make sure that both of my throttles are really opening exactly like I would like them to. So that was the throttle problem solved. With the MAF, the plan is going to be to run this slot MAF, put a dummy slot MAF in the other side. We are going to turn the MAF delta down to 50% to simulate both sides, and then put the fuel trim on the fuel pump to 150% to double what it's reading. So basically it's gonna tune out it, even knowing that there's two sides of the manifold. We're gonna tune it right in as long as we have a perfect water intercooler circuit right there and a perfect water intercooler circuit right here. So with that, the pushrod GTR is alive. All of the little troubleshooting things have been figured out. As you can tell, I've had it sitting on a stand and working on it. Got a chromoly flywheel from a 4.2. That thing only weighs 13 pounds. These are all my crossovers for the manifold. So there is hemispherical separation, the whole circuit. So the whole thing is a left and right circuit, but this will be where you will see the left and right hemispheres attached, as well as I have, this is for a vacuum connection because it's going to make the best vacuum consistently in the whole motor, as well as the evap system. So with the front, there's also a crossover built into the Freestar throttles that I've made that will go from before the throttle gate to before the throttle gate and give it even pressure for both of my turbo systems when the throttle plates are closed. So we got a nice crossover right before the manifold, and then as well as right here and right here, we have a crossover within the manifold to the other side of the IAC. So when the IAC kicks on and off, it will be also simulating one manifold, and the ECU doesn't even need to know that there is two throttles going on, because it will be being read off of the single throttle, the single MAF, and it will all just be being tuned out. So now that I've got you through all the rhetoric, here is my creation. I was sitting on the internet one day and I realized that Mustang didn't really have too many boost application items, aftermarket items, so I gotta make some. So this is of course a R35 GTR intake manifold, successfully mated to a V6 Mustang motor. This one's actually a Thunderbird Super Coupe motor, so we're gonna see if we can get her to live a little longer. The throttle setup's pretty nice. It's completely OEM all the way up the throttle, so we don't really get too much adjustment. It's pretty much in tandem as it goes. This manifold can be swapped out for any other R35 manifold, so once I got all of this set up together, I can easily just swap this to another R35 manifold and put whatever I want in there. It's been pretty nice doing this whole thing. I've been able to design the whole thing, as well as this the GTR 2 Freestar throttles. With that, I have designed this adapter as, say, a Vortex air rate adapter, so it actually has the spiral to the manifold, so as soon as when I open the throttles, the differential and throttle diameter and things won't exactly make a difference dumping into the manifold, because we're going to be running a ton of boost. The least this thing I think I'll even run on is probably about 10 pounds. So after you got down to the manifolds, my bread and butter of quite a while, this is my GTR adapter plate, Ford Freestar fuel rail, BBK valve covers. These are some old relic of the 90s. It's nice to have had these on this build. So of course have the GTR adapter lined up for you, because for everybody online who doesn't believe me, they say it doesn't line up. The hell it doesn't. That is a perfect adaptation. It is perfect. When I got it, I ported the lower intake manifold a little bit to line that up, but it's really nothing severe. And with that, that's the port. So that's how much port has to come off of this lower intake for it to line up with the GTR. The model lower intake I designed this on isn't this lower intake. The one that was the model is already ported to that bottom side. I just got to port out this one to that now. So with that, we are able to put any upper intake manifold from a Nissan GTR on the twin turbo V6 Mustang that I built. None of this is available for sale. I don't even know if I'd sell any of this ever. We might be able to recreate it, have somebody get a hold of me, sponsor me. But that's the plate. Took forever. I should probably pull out these before I lose them. Mint. Ford Freestar. Nissan GTR. And that's why I am the master of V6 tech support. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Come check it out. Like, subscribe, join Mustang V6 tech support.